Hello student, this is the second class. Myself Srikanto Sen from George Group of Colleges. Again, I'm going to teach you cyber security. This is the second class and the paper code is BCAN 501. So if you have gone through my last class, you have got some idea about what is OSI model and what is TCP/IP model. Now here comes the comparison of OSI model and TCP/IP model. So OSI has 7 layers, TCP/IP has 4 layers. OSI model has separate presentation layer, TCP/IP does not have separate presentation layer. So this way there are 4 different differences there between OSI model and TCP/IP model. See, if you want to learn cyber security and there is an option called network penetration testing, you need to learn the concept of OSI model and the TCP/IP model and the data communication networking very well. Without this you cannot master the networking penetration testing. So in these lectures basically we will concentrate on transport layer. So what is the purpose of transport layer? It encapsulates data into segments. Segments can use TCP or UDP to reach a destination host. Now TCP is connection oriented protocol. TCP is much more reliable. Now TCP uses a three-way handshake. Now what is the meaning of this handshake? Handshake means when you send the data to from a sender to a receiver, the receiver sends a acknowledge that I have received that data. So computer A sends a sync packet, computer B replies with a sync acknowledgement packet, and computer A replies with an acknowledgement packet. This is the concept of three-way handshake. If I show you a picture of this three-way handshake, it will be more clear. So in the left side you will find the client and in the right side there is a server. So client send a sync packet to the client. That means I want to send some data to you. Are you ready to listen or are you on to communicate with me? If the server is on, that means not down, it is working properly, it will send a message to the client that yes, I am ready, I am on and I am going to listen to you. That is called the sync acknowledgement packet. Sync packet or acknowledgement packet. So once this is received by the client now starts sending the data and start communicating with the server. This is the concept of three-way handshakes. Why I am saying three-way handshake? Because see, there are three lines. Line 1, line 2 and line 3. And this is the concept of three-way handshake. Once the three-way handshake has been completed, there is a bidirectional communication over the connection. Once the three-way handshake is completed, that means it is synchronized, then the client and the server start communicating between themselves. So normal TCP handshake. Now there are two pictures, one picture, another picture on the right side. Let's look at this. Now suppose there is an attacker or a person tries to communicate with the target host. Now, so what is the target host? Suppose your college computer or college website is the target host. So you try to send a sync packet. If college website is open, it will send you a sync acknowledgement packet. Now you start communicating with the college server, college website server. Now this is possible when the server is on and not down. Now sometimes what happens, due to some maintenance purpose, the server needs to be shut down. So if the attacker sends a sync packet, the target host, that means the college server, college website server, will send you a message that is called the RST or acknowledgement, that is called reset. That means the server is not ready now, or the server is now closed and don't want to communicate with you. If this happens, this is called the open port response, where there are three-way handshake. And if it is a closed port response, this is the answer: synchronized and reset. Reset means wait for few random times and then try to communicate with me again. So this is the normal TCP handshake and this is the abnormal TCP handshake. With a simple picture I can explain the concept of TCP. And the sender and receiver, this is called the data. Sending the data to the receiver in a reliable way. And UDP, you just throw the data and have no idea whether the receiver will receive this or not. So this is a simple way of explaining the concept of TCP and UDP. Okay, next we'll start with Internet Protocol. Internet Protocol is a set of technical rules that defines how computers communicate over a network. There are basically two versions of Internet Protocol. One is IPv4 and another one is IPv6. Actually, IPv4 is 32-bit addressing scheme, and that can hold maximum this number of computer at a time in the internet. But due to increase of connecting devices over the internet, it becomes a necessity to think of another kind of addressing scheme so that we can accommodate more computers in the network simultaneously. So IPv4 deals with 32-bit addressing scheme, and it is divided into two parts. One is network number prefix, another one is host number. So there are two kinds of notation to show an IPv4 address. One is binary notation, another one is decimal notation. So binary notation means say 11000001.11. So this is a binary notation, and now it is extremely difficult to remember the IP address in the form of binary notation. But it is relatively easy to remember the IP address in the form of decimal notation. So 192.168.11.239 is much more easy to memorize than representing it into binary form. So there are two different notations are there. We basically remember the dotted decimal notation. Now IP addresses are divided into 5 categories. These are class A, class B, class C, class D and class E, and you have studied this in the last semester. So the start IP address, end IP address, start IP address, end IP address, that you need to remember. Class A, class B, class C, multi-class and experimental. So reserved for future use. So class A basically starts with network ID and the remaining 3 is host ID. In class B, you will find that the first 2 is network ID, the last 2 is host ID. In class C, you will find the first 3 is network ID and the last one is host ID. And this is class D and this one is class E. Now this one is most important one. In class A, how many number of networks possible? Say in this picture you will find that the maximum number of networks possible in the class C address and maximum number of hosts possible 256. Now there is a problem with the IPv4. Now what is the problem? One problem that I told you a few minutes back, that with IPv4 the number of computers that can be connected in a network is limited to around these numbers, correct? But with the increase of internet and the internet connecting devices, this is not enough. So we need to connect more devices simultaneously over the internet. So we thought of inventing a new protocol, that is IPv6. Another problem with the IPv4 is that the IPv4 header length is variable. It is acceptable when routing is done by a software, but now routers are built within the hardware and processing the variable length headers in hardware is hard. That's why IPv4 is not desirable in many areas. We need to think of another new scheme, that is called IPv6. Now it starts with IPv6. IPv6 is a newer number system that provides much larger addresses pool than IPv4. It was deployed in the 1999 and should meet the world's IP addressing needs. That means you can think of every atom in the world can be given a IP address. So it is represented in this way, hexadecimal format. Say 3FFE colon F200 colon, and this is and total number of computers or networking devices that can be connected simultaneously is huge, almost 2 to the power 128. So nowadays IPv4 is converting into IPv6. Here is a comparison of IPv4 and IPv6 header format. Just need to remember this, IPv4 and IPv6. Here comes a picture of a network, how different workstations, hub, switch, server, wireless access point are connected in a basic local area network. Okay, so what we learned? We learned what is the IPv4, what is IPv6, what is the purpose of implementing IPv6, what are the problems with the IPv4, what are the two different ways IPv4 is represented. One is binary notation, another one is decimal notation. In IPv6, how many networking nodes or computers or computing devices can be connected simultaneously? The class addresses, class A, class B, class C, what are the number of network network ID and host ID? How many number of networks possible in class A? How many number of hosts possible in class A? We learn three-way handshake. One is for open port, another one is for closed port. Now what is open port and closed port? Always remember, when two computers try to communicate, they communicate through ports available in the computer. You can think port is a gateway to your computer. Now you can similar to the doors available in your house. The doors are the port. If your house has 4 doors, that means there are 4 ports in your house. Or similar to, there are 4 ports in your computer. Now when two computers try to connect, they can try to connect it through ports. Now every protocol has some predefined ports, and they try to communicate with that port. If the port is open, that signifies that the server is on and it is not down. If the port is closed, that means it is either intentionally closed by the security administrator or the server may be down. If the port is closed, you will get a different kind of response. If the port is open, you will get another different kinds of response. And we also learned the comparison of TCP IP and OSI model. So this is all about the basics of the second class that we learned today. Thank you, students.